The boys of Burgess Hall are celebrating a few renovations.
The USF Theater Department celebrates their latest production.
And sports takes a look into basketball.
All this and more coming up next on College Week.
The Jeske Fine Arts Center on the campus of the University of Sioux Falls. This is a 5-minute College Week news update.
Good morning, I'm Brandon Sandoval.
And I'm Stefanie Kurtz. Thanks for joining us.
You know, we have a really good show coming up for you today. We have a few student reactions to the crisis in Egypt and the Middle East.
Yeah, and we have a little bit of update for your Oscar buzz, too. Burgess Hall is not known for its spectacular lounges, but thanks to our very own makeover team, Burgess is finally getting rebuilt. Last week, the project began as two 50-inch flat screens and one 46-inch flat screen television were added to the newly painted lounge. John Hyatt, the Vice President of Institutional Advancements at USF, is the man behind the makeover. With the help of Alex Heiner, the current Burgess Resident Director, and Burgess Hall alumni, all funds for the makeover have been raised by current and past residents of the Burge. With their updates, all those involved say that they hope to attract new students and provide the community back to the halls of Burgess. For more information on the updates and to see photos of what's been done, become a fan of Rebuild Burgess on Facebook.
Last week, the University of Sioux Falls welcomed over 1,000 elementary students to the theater for the production of Page to Stage. For many of the children, it was their first experience with the performing arts. And the last theater performance of the school year will be Guys and Dolls, and open auditions will be held March 7th through the 8th at 6 to 8 p.m. in the Meredith Auditorium. Check your campus email for more details.
So, Brandon, are you up to date on what's going on in Egypt right now?
You know, I am. I watched President Mubarak step down on the Al Jazeera network. It was really intense. And although the Middle East is pretty far from home, it still hits home to some of us here in Sioux Falls.
Definitely. Reporter Cami Keys is going to take a look on what's going on in the Middle East.
In January, Augustana band students traveled to Egypt for what appeared to be a standard interim trip. What they experienced instead was history in the making. When riots and protests broke out in Cairo on the 25th, Rachel Cartridge was among the students trapped in Egypt.
When we got back to Cairo, we went to our downtown hotel. We were eating supper on the top floor, and we could hear some people shouting. We went out to the balcony, and we could see them walking by, and the police were kind of shooing them away, and then they gathered back up, and everyone was running, and the cars were crazy, and they were going every direction, and it was just backed up everywhere.
Soon after the riots took full force, the students were moved to a more secure location.
Our tour guides were in talk with the tourism police the whole time, and so that morning, Friday is their day of prayer, so that's their big day that everybody's off, and then they told us that we were leaving at 11:45 and their prayer starts at noon, so they had it strategically planned out for us to leave at a certain time so we didn't run into anything, and then they took us out to the airport mall to spend a few hours, and then until our hotel we could check in, and then we were at the hotel right by the airport, so we weren't anywhere close to any of the riots for the last few days.
Despite any danger Cartridge may have been in, she says it was worth the experience.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun to kind of see what their people have been able to do, and they're so proud of themselves, and it's just been a lot of fun to keep track of, and I pick up the newspaper every once in a while to keep for my scrapbook.
For College Week,
it's cool to be a part of history.
I'm Cameron Keys.
On Sunday, the 83rd Annual Academy Awards were presented with King's Speech being the biggest recipient on the night. They walked away with 4 Oscars, including Best Actor for Colin Firth, Best Original Screenplay, Best Director, and Best Picture. Best Actress went to Natalie Portman for Black Swan, while Supporting Actress went to Melissa Leo for The Fighter. The Fighter also received an Oscar for Best Supporting Male Actor, Christian Bale.
Coming up next, Kayla Burnside sits down with Beth Salisbury on Crosstalk.
Don't go away.
Good morning, welcome to another edition of Crosstalk. I'm your host Kayla Burnside, and here joining me today is Beth Salisbury, the KCFS station manager. Welcome, Beth.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. What is KCFS radio for people who aren't aware of it?
KCFS Radio is the campus radio here on the University of Sioux Falls. It is completely student-run with our station manager, me, and the assistant managers all being students. We have one faculty advisor, which is Dr. Gary Schlinker, and all of our DJs are students that are on work study, they're on radio credit, or they just love doing radio for fun. We do have a couple off-campus DJs like 605 Magazine and Rock Garden Tour, and we have an Ethiopian broadcast on Saturday and Sundays, and we have a Spanish broadcast on Sunday mornings. And we also have a nationally broadcast radio, which is Christian Rock 20, so.
Awesome.
Completely student-run.
Cool. How did you get this job as the station manager?
It started off last year. It was my second year, sophomore year of high school. We were at our first radio meeting where they say, hey, welcome, this is the radio, first one off of the year, and Ronnie Hawkins is like, hi, I'm Ronnie Hawkins, I'm your station manager. And he turns around and goes, this is Beth Salisbury, my assistant manager. And I'm like, what? And he's like, is that okay? I'm like, sure. So without even asking, I became assistant manager, and then Ronnie graduated, and so I was the next person in line. So.
Awesome. What are some of the things that you are held responsible for as station manager? What are do you train people? What sorts of things do you do?
As station manager, I set up the first initial meeting both semesters, and then have everyone write down their schedules, and I create the schedule from what people tell me what they want to work. I do train people. I make sure everything is filled in, like our sign-in sheets. And a new thing that we had to start doing this year, because we had a surprise visit by the FCC over the summer, is for our emergency alert system, we now have to write them down on a sheet of paper, and then Dr. Schlinker has to look over them and say, okay, this is all fine, sign it, and then give it back to me. So we have those on record if the FCC needs to come and visit again, which hopefully they won't, but that's basically what I do as station manager, look over shows, so.
Awesome. You mentioned the FCC. Who are they? What do they do?
The FCC is the Federal Communications Committee, and they come in and make sure everything is okay with your radio station, make sure there's no cussing going on air, that your emergency alert system, which is the annoying thing that comes on your radio when a really good song is on, and just says this is a test or a broadcast of there's a storm in these areas or whatever. Make sure all our public files are in order and stuff, and just basically making sure everything is checked, we're running how we're supposed to, we have our license and stuff like that. And if not, then we can get a pretty hefty fine, or even the radio station would be closed down and I would lose my job, and so would a lot of other students on campus. So.
Okay, so you said if people are saying cuss words and stuff, have you ever had problems with this actually happening? Have you had to talk to students? And
we actually have had to, we've had some issues with that. Of course, they've been taken care of. I try to run somewhat of a type thing. We are a Christian university, so we do limit our song choices. It's like you can play what you want, because this used to be just strictly indie rock and Sioux Falls music. And so we expanded that last year with Ronnie, and then this year with me. We do actually have some discretions, like we don't want anything vulgar towards women about drinking, because this is a Christian campus university. So we want to still uphold those values and stuff like that, and so we don't want to be like, hey, yeah, we're okay for drinking and abuse of women, so
yeah.
With that, so. But it's been a pretty good year so far, so.
Cool. So how can the community get involved? Can they call in when they're listening? Like, they can, like, you know, just ask for a song? How does that work?
Yes, we do have a number, which is 605-331-6696, and so they can just call in and say, hey, I want to play the song, and our DJs will be like, yeah, sure, let me make sure we check and have that, and then if we don't, then they can look on YouTube, making sure the song is edited, of course, if there are any cuss words in it, and then we can normally play it on air. Depending on the DJ, some can put their callers on air and just say, hey, I have a shout out for you, or if it's like someone's birthday, they're like, hey, listen at this time, so.
Okay. Well, we have about 30 seconds left, but what do you plan on doing in your future career with this background as the manager?
With this, I want to move into an actual radio station, whether it be here in Sioux Falls or Arizona, California, New York, wherever I get a job, and basically become a station manager. And after I've been in the field for a little bit, I actually want to open my own consulting business where stations have me come in and say, okay, we want to improve, we want to do better, and then I can sit down, look over everything they're doing and say, this is what you're doing, but this is what we can do to become better, so.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Beth.
Thank you for having me.
That wraps up another edition of Crosstalk, and up next is Sports with Sarah Bettinger. Thank you.
And now we'll hear from sports reporter Sarah Bedinger.
So Sarah, it's your first time here on College Week. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. You know, everybody loves a good feel-good story, and with the USF basketball team, men's team, losing a couple of top scorers at the guard position, it's kind of nice to see them continue their winning ways. Also, we take an inside look into wrestling. So.
All right.
Awesome.
The University of Sioux Falls men's basketball team is still celebrating after Tuesday night's win over Dordt College. The 91-77 victory over the Defenders gave the Cougars their second GPAC Conference Championship in the past 3 seasons. USF was led by freshman Keith Cutler's lights-out shooting from deep. Cutler nailed 5 of 7 three-pointers on his way to netting 19 points. 5 other Cougars also gained double-digit scoring totals for the night. But offense wasn't the only factor. The Cougars forced 17 turnovers on the night to put the momentum on their side. Up next for the Cougars is the NAIA National Tournament in Branson, Missouri. In the first round, the Cougars will take on the College of the Ozarks on Wednesday, March 9th at 8 p.m. Also in Cougar athletics, the men's and women's track team is headed up to Geneva, Ohio for the NAIA Indoor Track Championships. The tournament starts today and goes through Saturday. For a listing of all Cougars involved in the track meet, go to www.usfcougars.com. The National Wrestling Tournament also starts today. For an inside look on the wrestling team, here's College Week sports reporter Brett Gies.
The University of Sioux Falls wrestling squad has endured a tough season, playing a good amount of tough teams, something Coach Tim Homan says has made them better.
We wrestled the Division II guys. We've wrestled Augustana, which is they're number 2 in the nation right now in Division II. We've wrestled, I think, 4 top 20 Division II teams in our duels, and then 2 or 3 top 10 NAIA teams. So we wrestle the best that we can, and we're just basically trying to, we got to wrestle the best to be the best, and that's what we got to do.
So far, Joe Scow, Casey Finicum, Shea Cluster, and Clint McKee have all qualified for Nationals. Coach Homan describes what he hopes to accomplish at Nationals.
We're hoping to be able to score some points and maybe hopefully come home with a couple All-Americans, but things got to come just right for you when you get to the national tournament.
Individually, a couple of wrestlers are enjoying record-breaking seasons, but by a team effort, so is the community.
Well, Joe Scow, he's tied the record for most wins in a season right now with 24, and one more he breaks the record. Casey Finicum has broke the record for number of falls in the season. We have a team record with 45 falls, and that comes in handy. We have a thing called Pick Up the Sticks, where we have people donate so much a pin that we have, and then we like to do our community service at the furniture mission in town. And so for every stick, half the money that we raise will go to the furniture mission when we collect it, and then the half will stay with the team.
Nationals are March 3rd through 5th in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. To keep up with all Cougar wrestling and other athletics, go to www.usfcougars.com. For College Week, I'm Sarah Bedinger.
To stay caught up on all USF athletics, go to www.usfcougars.com. And that wraps up sports.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah. It's so great to hear our teams are doing so well.
And that wraps up another edition of USF College Week. I'm Brandon Sandoval.
And I'm Stefanie Kurtz. Have a great day.